Miyagi-Do.
What time is it then? Please tell these guys.
It's Tony time!
Welcome to Tony's MMA Corner, the only MMA channel that's undefeated against Miyagi-Do. I am your host, Tony Sepulveda! And today, I have a packed show for you guys. I have a Halloween episode. We're going to go over UFC Fight Night for the Paulo Costa Marvin Vittori fight this weekend. And we're also going to go over fight picks for the following week's free pay-per-view, UFC 267. Hopefully, it's not going to be like one of those movies where they try to cram in too much and then it ends up sucking. Looking at you, Many Saints. Gosh, that movie sucked. Before we get into that, I want to shamelessly plug Tony's MMA Corner's new merchandise. That's right. Check it out. What do you guys think? Think it came out pretty sweet? Check it out. If you guys want to get yours, I'll leave a link in the description so you can buy that merch. Now, back to my low effort Halloween costume. Perfect. Now let's get to the show. Alright, first up, we have this weekend's UFC Fight Night main event. Marvin Vittori versus Paulo Costa. Now, Paulo Costa, before his loss to Izzy, went on a tear against the middleweights, beating Jimi Hendrix, Uriah Hall, and Yoel Romero. That's right, all this happened before Costa decided to get drunk and get blacked by Israel Adesanya. On the other side, we have Marvin Vittori, who is undefeated in 2 bouts against Adesanya, at least in his own head. I think we're in for a treat with this one. So long as these guys don't respect each other's violent nature too much, this is going to be a great bout. I think Paulo Costa takes this one by a violent TKO. Borrachinha. Well, that takes care of the fight night. Now let's get to UFC 267. But before we get into that, make sure you guys hit the notification bell, give me a like on that video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, if you guys want to become a patron on my Patreon, check the link in the description. All my patrons get a shout out on Tony's MMA Corner. And speaking of shout outs, we have a new patron, and his name is Paul Grant. Thank you, Paul. Stay black. You can also check out Paul Grant at Paul Grant MMA on YouTube. He has his own channel. Back to the show. First up, we have Jing Yang, the Leech. Probably not the best nickname considering the times and the country he's from. Versus Khamzat Chimaev. I'm really not having an easy time with these names. Lee has just come off a knockout victory against Ponzinibbio. I don't know what you want me to do with these names. Ponzi is a very tough welterweight, so that's actually a very impressive win for Lee. And if you look at his career, he's got quite a lot of finishes in the UFC already. On the other hand, we have that savage, Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat just had an Iron Man match with the Beer Fever. We call it the Beer Fever because we don't want to say its actual name because we know the YouTube overlords are looking over us. Basically, Khamzat has had a rough year, but he's looking to get back to what he started before the Beer Fever. Considering everything, this is actually a pretty good test for Khamzat. I think it's a really good fight for him. If Khamzat is the Khamzat that we had before the Beer Fever, then I think he's going to take the fight against Lee. Probably by submission or ground and pound. If it's not the Khamzat before the Beer Fever, then he wins by decision. I think either way, Khamzat takes this. Next up, we have Dan Hooker versus Islam Makachev. Dan Hooker has got balls of steel taking this matchup. Instead of Dan the Hangman Hooker, they should change his name to Dan the Hungman Hooker. On the other side of this, we have Islam Makachev, who has proven that he is ready to take Khabib's place, and that everybody else is just a placeholder. Although Dan Hooker has balls of steel taking this match, like I said before, I think Islam Makachev has no issue taking him down and submitting him. So I got Islam Makachev by submission. Next up, we got Peter Yawn versus Corey Sanhagen for the lightweight championship. Peter Yawn predicted the Aljamain Sterling pullout. Hey-oh! Hey, come on. We all know Peter Yawn is the actual champion. On the other side of this, we have Corey Sanhagen, who looked great in his loss to TJ Dillashaw and his murder of Frankie Edgar. This fight right here is another great example that this free UFC pay-per-view is going to be fire. I say Peter Yawn takes this fight. I think he's going to get a TKO somewhere 3rd, 4th round. I think he's just that good. And it'll set up an Aljamain Sterling rematch, which we know he'll pull out of as well. And then it'll set up the TJ Dillashaw fight, which we all want to see. And now for the main event of the evening. We have Jan Blachowicz, who knows, versus Glover Teixeira for the light heavyweight championship. Jan is the only man to actually beat Israel Adesanya. He's also a guy that had a great comeback story. Lost, came back, earned a title shot, and won the light heavyweight championship. On the other side of this, we have Glover Teixeira, who is an OG in the MMA world. I remember watching him back in the day when he was lumping up Sokoju. He worked his way to a title fight against John Jones, but nobody beats John Jones except the law. And now, he's worked his way up to another title shot. I'm going to say I'm a little biased in this one, because I kind of want Glover to fulfill his destiny. And I think that this is a very winnable match for him. No knock on Yawn. I just think Glover's that good. But Yawn's also very good. So it's going to be a tightly contested fight. And I think we're going to have a great main event. Ultimately, I think Glover can get a finish in this fight. So I'm pulling for my man Glover to become the next light heavyweight champion. I mean, now that John Jones is in this trilogy bout with the law, this light heavyweight division, this title is up for grabs now. Anybody can win it. We might see that belt bounce around for a little bit now. Well, guys, those are my picks. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And as always, I'll see you guys next time on Tony's MMA Corner. Crane kick. Yeah.